Hello, everybody, and welcome to a very special edition of TXN Talking Wrestling. It is Google MF Michael Fletcher alongside my good buddy Anthony Florio. We are hoping and awaiting the presence of Michael Bullock. If he comes in, great. If he doesn't, then that's fine as well. We got a lot to cover tonight. We are going to start off with Clash at the Castle as it was held from the Principality Stadium in Cardiff, Wales, in front of 62,296. You guys got to see it if you were in the United States exclusively on Peacock, or you had to see it on WWE Network from around the world, or you actually could see it via any company that has pay-per-view capabilities, or just wrestling in general. So let's start it off. There was a pre-show match. You know the rules. We do not do pre-show fights, but for the heck of it, it was Madcap Moss and the Street Profits going up against Austin Theory. That's right, you heard me right. Austin Theory and Alpha Academy, Chad Gable and Otis. Madcap Moss and the Street Profits wins the match in 6 minutes and 29 seconds. Now, to the main card. We started off with a 6-woman tag team fight as it was Damage Control. Bayley, Dakota Kai, and Io Sky. They went up against Raw Women's Champion Bianca Belair, Alexa Bliss, and Asuka. Damage Control wins the match. 18 minutes, 44 seconds. A solid opener to this fight card. Everybody did really well in this matchup, but the biggest storyline of this was Bayley pinned Bianca Belair. You already know what we're about to yell. Championship committee moment in a 6-woman tag. Bayley pins the champion. That's already the biggest talking point coming off of that victory tonight. And without a doubt, a great victory nonetheless for Damage Control. They get a little bit of a measure of revenge. So, Anthony Florio, this was at least a 3.5-star battle. As Anthony Florio, you come on in. Damage Control gets a huge win in Cardiff as mainly Bayley pinned the Raw Women's Champion, Bianca Belair.
That she did, MF, and you're absolutely right. This is without a doubt a championship committee moment. I'm actually gonna give it a little more of a higher rating, MF. With all due respect, I'm gonna give this about 4 to 4.25 stars for the effort. The outcome was not surprising, as Triple H and WWE sought to continue building momentum for the top heel act in the Raw Women's division. Bayley pinning Bianca Belair sets her up for a title opportunity, something that was also predictable given the creative leading into the show. In this case, predictable is far from bad, as the role model is a genuine star and the most logical option to challenge for the gold. Considering she and Belair never had a suitable conclusion to their rivalry last year, their rivalry is long overdue. This was a very good match that got considerable time to unfold, and all 6 women had a chance to shine. This was the right call for an opener, given the exposure the talent involved have received over the last 2 months on the Red brand, and set the bar high for the rest of the pay-per-view. And yes, you noticed, the heels entered the arena to new theme music and the Damage Control name. And Michael Cole brought up Io Sky's previous partnership with Asuka during their time in Japan, a big moment for those who remember Vince McMahon refusing to allow the commentary team to recognize wrestling history in any promotion outside of his own. And whatever there, but this was a very good match, no question about it. A great jump off to this event here today. 4 to 4.25 stars. That's my rating for this. So there isn't much more to say. And MF, before I give it back to you, I do want to address one quick thing when it comes to that kickoff show match, that
Sure.
6-man tag.
Sure.
Did you see what Montez Ford did near the end of that match? In the immortal, I'll take that as a yes. In the immortal words of the great Mike Tenay, And he said this, and I quote, from Victory Road 2004. You remember the spot, MF, when Elix Skipper did that little tightrope across the 6 sides of steel against
Yes, I
AMW?
remember that. Yes.
I'm going to say exactly what Mike Tenay said on that night when I saw that. And I actually had you screaming this out loud when you first off let out the biggest "look at this" I've ever heard. And you also, screaming Michael Fletcher, you also said it just like Mike Tenay did. That was the most incredible thing I have ever seen in professional wrestling. That's what that was. So that was the most incredible thing I have ever seen in professional wrestling. You got to look at that spot again. That was the most insane spot I've ever seen. That was wow. If that didn't set the tone, I don't know what did. But yeah,
we got something that sets the tone. We're gonna get into it right now too.
4 to 4.25 stars for that 6 woman. MF. All I can say is, be a man.
Next up, we was Gunther putting the Intercontinental Championship on the line against Sheamus. Gunther wins the match in 19 minutes, 33 seconds. Anthony Florio, I heard Michael Bullock. I heard you on the messenger chat. I didn't get a chance to see this because I was working. I had work commitments beyond my control.
Of course.
I heard from my very own friend Bill McConnell because he was the one that actually kind of alluded to it. He had goosebumps after this match and literally said this was he was like, I can't even reveal this. You got to see this for yourself, Fletcher. And I heard Bullock. I heard you. Are you going to do it in front of the world right now? Are you pulling that trigger that you guys alluded to earlier? Is this the 5?
Before I answer that, let me get into my analysis first.
Okay.
I'm going to set it up for you. Fans expecting a hard-hitting physical match between Intercontinental Heavyweight Champion Gunther and top contender Sheamus got everything they wanted in this match while still being surprised at the intensity of the bout. Champion and challenger beat the life out of each other for nearly 20 minutes, testing each other's endurance, durability, and toughness. Gunther reddened the chest of his opponent and dominated the action throughout the first half of the match. Sheamus seized an opening and punished the champion with an onslaught of forearms to the chest, the 10 beats of the Bowery, and hard strikes, heavy-hitting moves, and a couple of near falls followed before the Irishman attempted a brogue kick. Back gave out, though. Gunther capitalized by delivering a powerbomb and finishing the Celtic Warrior off with a lariat for the win. There are some loaded professional wrestling cards this weekend. This show today, tomorrow with NXT Worlds Collide, as well as AEW All Out. But we will be hard-pressed to find a match as great as this. While others may be more dazzling or theatrical, this was a hard-hitting battle that felt more real than predetermined, with the combatants throwing whatever they had at each other in the name of victory. Gunther won, but the incredible show of respect shown to Sheamus by the fans in Cardiff was reflective of a guy whose contributions as an in-ring performer over 13 years with WWE are finally starting to be appreciated by the fans. A video package recalled the classic Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship match between Bret the Hitman Hart and the British Bulldog Davey Boy Smith from SummerSlam 1992, before Samantha Irvin introduced the family of Davey Boy Smith and Bret Hart himself. Bret Hart was at this show today. Ludwig Kaiser introduced Giovanni Vinci, reforming Imperium in a noteworthy occurrence before the bell rang. And then Kaiser and Vinci brawled with Butch and Rich Holland while Sheamus and Gunther stared each other down in the pre-match segment. Gunther kicked Sheamus square in the face, and a slow-mo replay showed the side of the Celtic Warrior's face collapsing under the force of his boot. Sheamus' face was painted with welts, scratches, and bruises, the result of the Reign General's unforgiving strikes. The Irishman repaid Gunther for a barrage of chops by forearming the life out of the champion's chest. And Sheamus broke out the Celtic Cross for the first time in what felt like ages. A callback to his early days in WWE. MF and everyone out there. I know there's a lot of us out there nowadays who are pressed for time, and I can understand that and appreciate that. But for the love of God, if you have time, you absolutely positively must go out of your way to watch this match. And to answer your question, MF, am I pulling the trigger? You damn right I'm pulling the trigger. 5-star classic. And I'm even going to go as far as to call it the match of the year in WWE in 2022. I don't know what else there is to say on it. This was every bit of be a man fight as you would expect. And the commentary was great. The crowd was great. The action, it was a breathtaking spectacle from start to finish. And we were excited about it going in. We knew this was going to deliver, but it didn't deliver. It over-delivered here today. So, no doubt about it. 5-star classic, fight of the night. And MF, all I can say is you've got to go out of your way to watch this match. I know you're very busy with the work commitments. I get that, but my
probably
God.
the
MF,
earliest
my
I'll
God.
probably be able to watch this match is probably going to be Monday. And I'm going to try to do it Monday early afternoon prior to before Monday Night Raw. But that will be the best chance I'm going to be able to do it. But
Fair enough.
man alive, I heard a lot of good things, about this match. So yeah,
you would absolutely. If I know you, you're going to be doing a lot of Pat McAfee during this match. That's all I'm going to say. So,
all right,
5-star classic, fight of the night, and I'm even going to pull the trigger. Say hello to your new match of the year.
match of the year. Wow. All right. So with that said, well, since I can't do the remaining matches, but I will get it. But I'll probably give a thought about it, and that is that look, we expected Gunther to win it. We knew it was going to be a fight. We knew it was going to be a man, and from all intents and purposes, from everybody that I'm hearing it from social media and whatnot, this was a war. And yeah, everybody's going bonkers over this match. So yeah, I'll go out of my way to watch it. When I get a chance, we'll do it. And that's that. Next up we had was Liv Morgan versus Shayna Baszler. Liv Morgan wins the match in 11 minutes and 2 seconds, successfully defending the SmackDown Women's title. Now, this was an interesting situation. Liv needed a moment, and she needed it to win this match in a way that they did. Now, I heard rumors that the fans were not really into it. Maybe they got tired out by the Gunther versus Sheamus match. But I did feel, and a lot of people were saying that, look, these women did good. They did what they needed it to do. They fought, they scrapped, they clawed. It was a big win. So great win for them. There's really nothing more to add. So, Anthony, what is your rating for this matchup as Liv Morgan successfully defends the SmackDown Women's Champion? We're living it up with Liv here tonight.
By default, keywords, by default, this was the worst fight of the night. There will be some who criticize the idea of Shayna Baszler losing again, but given the fact that the seeds were planted by Ronda Rousey that her friend used to be a killer but had gotten soft, it plays into that narrative. Here was a woman who had victory in her hand if she had just channeled that killer instinct. Instead, she allowed Liv Morgan to hang around, and it cost her. As long as that is the direction the story is headed, the booking worked. If not, Triple H and company will have their work cut out for them in terms of rebuilding Shayna Baszler. The match was a good David versus Goliath type showdown that put Morgan over as a double tough and hopefully helps endear her to fans in a way that the booking at SummerSlam did not. Morgan actually tried to apply the Kirifuda clutch on 2 occasions early, but Baszler easily escaped and reversed both times. Queen of Spades targeted Morgan's left arm like a shark smelling blood, looking to exploit a part of the champion previously injured by Ronda Rousey. Morgan grabbed an armbar late in the match, again trying to work submissions against a woman nicknamed the Submission Magician. Baszler twisted, contorted, and bent Morgan's injured arm in a way that was reminiscent of the old Queen of Spades, as well as Pete Dunne. Fans grew to appreciate NXT joint manipulation, and I'll explain about how I feel about that in a minute. And Baszler countered a sunset flip powerbomb pin into the Kirifuda clutch in a smooth spot. Every time I see that joint manipulation, you guys know how I get. I get squeamish very, very easily.
You and Pete Dunne. Well, I could say Shayna Baszler and Pete Dunne are your personal favorites because they're the ones that loves the joint manipulation, and I know how much squeamish you get with those two.
It conjures up nightmares, man. It conjures up nightmares to the one thing that started all of this. And I'm just gonna say 2 words, and you'll know immediately where I'm going with it. Sid Vicious.
Oh yeah,
You know where I'm going with that.
I know. Yeah, you don't even need to say any more. I think every wrestling fan around the world remembers that moment.
Yeah, and I still get nightmares and it conjures up those nightmares every time I see that damn joint manipulation. So that's why I get so squeamish very easily. That's just a little. And I even told Bullock that during our SmackDown chat last night. That's what I told him. So, and even he knows about it. So, but anywho, I'll give it about 3 to 3 1/4 for the effort. Like I said, it was by default the worst fight of the night. So there isn't much more to say here. MF, we move on now to tag team action, and in just a little bit, I'm gonna bring back an old school heel commentary favorite.
Yeah. Well, I was actually fortunate enough to see this one during my break at the job, and it was Rey Mysterio and Edge versus the Judgment Day, Finn Balor and Damian Priest. Edge and Rey Mysterio won the match in 12 minutes and 35 seconds, but it was really the biggest talking point was after the match as Dominic low-blowed Edge, and then after a moment of clarity where Rey was pleading for his son to, hey, it was a mistake, please, it's fine, everything's okay, and then the unthinkable, a vicious lariato, a vicious clothesline. Dominic floors his own father. Much to the delight and the laughter of the Judgment Day, the nuclear bomb of boos, boobers ringing out of Cardiff towards Dominic Mysterio, Anthony Florio. Oh my God. What has gotten into this kid? I understand him getting to Edge because, he might believe that was no accident, and I get that. But why the clothesline to his dad? That's your father, for God's sakes. What the hell are you thinking?
Before I bring back the old heel commentary favorite that I teased you with earlier, let me get into my analysis on the match. Time of the fall once again?
Time of the fall was 12:35.
12:35. I'll give this about 3 1/4, 3 1/2. The match was fine, but from a quality standpoint, it was no better or worse than something fans would see on Raw. Given the increase in quality on that show, that is by no means a bad thing, though. And you noticed Edge. Edge came out in the arena in a luchador mask, showing solidarity with Rey Mysterio. The Hall of Famer broke out a 619 on Finn Balor that Corey Graves best described as being closer to a 519. Edge speared Damian Priest through the ropes and to the floor, drawing a huge pop. Rhea Ripley wiped out Dominic at ringside, but Ray wiped both her and his son out with a tope suicida moments later. Now, as far as Dominic concerned, it was a booking decision most saw coming from a mile away, including us, but may have lost hope for given the way the bout concluded. The second generation competitor badly needed to break free from his father and turn heel, if only to establish his own identity. Just being Ray's son grew stale quite a while ago. Now he has the potential to become a star on his own while working with his father across the ring from him rather than by his side. And now, ladies and gentlemen, and MF, I know you've been waiting a good 6.5 or so hours ever since I teased this. I'm about to bring back an old heel commentary favorite. The minute, and it wasn't when, it was not when Dominic low blowed Edge. It was when Dominic clotheslined his dad. When he did that, MF was like, no. MF was like, what the hell? And then I just start laughing and laughing like a crazed hyena, Jesse Ventura style. And here it comes right here. That's the smartest thing that Dominic Mysterio has done all night. Hell, it's the smartest thing Dominic Mysterio has ever done. Fletcher, I think you've just seen a major change in that young man's career. He is finally waking up to the fact that he's not going to stand in the shadow of Daddy anymore because Daddy wants to hog the damn limelight. And then from there, they show a shot of us, and I clapped my hands, and I said, he finally woke up, Fletcher. That's the smartest thing that I have ever seen Dominic Mysterio do. He has finally realized that if he wants it, he's got to do whatever he's got to do, and he's got to go out there on his own, not depend on his daddy, and not sit in the shadow of his daddy anymore. He's got to do it on his own, and I applaud you, Dominic Mysterio.
And I in turn would go full gorilla mode by saying that was the most reprehensible thing I have ever seen in my life. That young man should be ashamed of himself for doing that to his own father. I don't care who the heck you are or what type of situation. It's one thing to do it to Edge. I get that. He maybe be a little angry about what happened to him a few weeks ago on Monday Night Raw. But what you do to your own flesh and blood, your own family, is unforgivable. And I would have done that as the face commentator towards Anthony Flair as a rebuttal to what he had said.
And then I would have backed it up even further. And after I did the applause, MF would have had that zombie death stare look, and Michael Bullock would have had that "How dare you" Byron Saxton style look.
Yeah.
Dominic Mysterio just realized that in business, whether it's wrestling or any other business, that's what you got to do. If you got to step on people, if you got to be a little bit cutthroat, then that's what it takes. If that's what it takes to get the job done, that's what you do. And that kid just woke up.
Yeah, that was wow, unbelievable night, unbelievable moment. Yeah, we're gonna be, and we're still talking about it.
And I think you know where I got that from, right?
Oh yeah, I believe so.
Royal Rumble 1994.
Yep.
Teddy DiBiase. After Owen
Hart betrayed Bret the Hitman Hart.
Yep. That's what I was going for. That's what I was going for. 3.25, 3.5, 3.25, 3.5 for the match. And now we move on. We go from one personal moment to a match that over the last several weeks, and especially after this past Monday night on Raw, after Mr. Riddle dropped several F-bombs.
It got very personal.
Beyond personal.
Yeah, Seth freaking Rollins versus Matt Riddle one-on-one. Seth freaking Rollins wins the match in 17 minutes and 22 seconds. Anthony Rollins played on Riddle's emotion. He basically went there trying to get Riddle to make a mistake, and Riddle made a mistake. And Rollins, the true consummate professional that he is, made it pay. He burned it down on Riddle, and down he goes.
17-22, you said?
You got it.
All right. Yeah. The chemistry between the combatants is off the charts. Their dislike for one another beyond the ring is well documented, but when it comes to putting in work between the ropes, they mesh extremely well. The transitions, counters, and reversals were great, and Matt Riddle barely rolling his shoulder off the mat during near falls was a nice touch. Rollins winning was the right call. His star burns brighter than Riddle's, and he figures to play a big role in the immediate and long-term future of Raw as one of its faces. As Triple H continues to unfold his creative plans for the flagship show, he will rely on someone like Seth Rollins to enhance certain programs. Rollins and Riddle recovered nicely from an ugly near botch on a top rope spot. The original Bro countered his rival superplex into a Falcon Arrow spot by delivering a picture-perfect Fisherman Buster. Riddle countered a rolling elbow into an Exploder suplex and then added a floating Bro to the floor. Riddle tried for another floating Bro, but Rollins got the knees up. The Bro recovered and caught the Visionary with a triangle choke. Rollins attempted to use his opponent's own Bro Derek against him, but Riddle narrowly kicked out at 2. And Rollins using the Lord's name in vain by saying, "You're a god bleeping loser. You hear me?" Rollins antagonized his opponent with insults toward him, his ex-wife, and his kids. And he then added the Viper DDT a la Randy Orton to boot. And that would have got good old MF Michael Fletcher in a major hissy fit. So...
Oh, I trust me. I did on commentary. Oh, come on! What a lack of disrespect by Seth Rollins.
You would I also would have had you pulling out the Stephen A. disrespectful.
Yeah.
On that.
And then you would be like, "What do you mean disrespectful?"
You call it disrespectful. I call it brilliant.
Yep. There it is.
Yep. A vintage Jesse word right there. He always used the brilliant. That's what he always used to do. And wow, right up there with the 6th woman. I'm gonna give this about. I'm actually gonna give it about 4.25 for the effort. Just north of 4.5. But it's definitely up there. I could probably say second best fight of the night on this. Actually, no, third best fight on this. So it's right there between that and the 6th woman tag, 3 and 4. I have Edge and Mysterio against the Judgment Day 5th, and I have the SmackDown Women's title as the default worst fight of the night. So there isn't much more to say on this. 4.25 for this, teetering on 4.5. So there isn't much more to say. MF, as I told Michael Bullock last night, and I'll tell it to you since you weren't on last night, what we had coming up next, the moment we were all waiting for, and this is what literally drew 62,296 fans to the Principality Stadium in Cardiff, Wales today. This next match, it's main event time, and this match right here, truly what the words main event were meant for, because this right here was the main event, brother. It don't get no bigger.
For the undisputed WWE Universal Championship, the champion Roman Reigns versus the challenger Drew McIntyre, the winner of the bout in 30 minutes, 47 seconds. I repeat that again. 30 minutes, 47 seconds, and still the undisputed WWE Universal Champion Roman Reigns.
Really?
It's yours.
I'll say it like this. If we had gotten the ending we were all expecting and hoping for, I would have done the unthinkable and I would have pulled the trigger a second time. I would have called this a 5-star classic. But because of the surprise appearance by Solo Sikoa, yes, you heard me right, Solo Sikoa is now on the main roster. It only gets 4.5 to 4.75 of a star. second best fight of the night. If it wasn't for the interference and if we had gotten the ending we wanted, then I would have pulled 5. I would have surpassed. I would have put this past Gunther and Sheamus for fight of the night. But oh my God, MF. Drew McIntyre elicited an enormous pop for his entrance into the Principality Stadium, which was preceded by a video package set to Broken Dreams, a song fans have anticipated since his return to WWE. Reigns, the defending champion, entered the arena on his own. There was no Paul Heyman. There were no Usos. Even Sami Zayn was nowhere to be seen, as the Tribal Chief made the long walk to the ring without pyro due to the stadium setup. The ensuing bout was a great main event and a legitimate Match of the Year candidate. Like Rollins and Riddle, Reigns and McIntyre have wild in-ring chemistry developed from working house shows and TV dark matches against each other for the better part of a year. They took everything they had worked through and developed over that time and executed it to perfection, with a red-hot Cardiff crowd to boot. Roman Reigns is a master of the near fall and has timing that is impeccable. He knows exactly when to throw his shoulder off the mat to maximize the drama, and the result is often a contest that has fans completely invested. We saw it a couple of times today, but it was the superb timing of his cousin that set up the finish. Solo Sikoa debuted in the closing moments, pulling the referee out of the ring and preventing a 3 count following one last Claymore from McIntyre. He hung the Scottish Warrior out to dry on the ropes, setting up a spear by the champ that would bring about the conclusion of this bout. There was an understandable disappointment on the part of the fans following McIntyre's loss. But other than his home field advantage, he never felt like the guy to dethrone Reigns. The Scot is over with fans and one of the hardest working guys in the company. That will not change, and this was Reigns' match to win because propelling things forward with the addition of Sikoa to the bloodline is a bigger development than McIntyre winning the title. So the call was controversial and very likely annoyed some fans who expected McIntyre to leave Cardiff with the gold, but for the long-term future of the company's creative plans, like it or not, this was the right call. The Broken Dreams video was fantastic and told the entire story of McIntyre's career in 2 minutes. The crowd's love of the Scot was awe-inspiring, the pop was deafening, and the chants for him after the entrances and early on lost few decibels. Karrion Kross and Scarlett provided a distraction at ringside that allowed Reigns to slow the onslaught of his opponent and turn the tide. The Tribal Chief talked trash to the top contender, allowing McIntyre to attempt a comeback with a few chops, but it was short-lived. Reigns grabbed the mic and demanded Cardiff acknowledge him, only to catch a nasty Glasgow kiss headbutt from McIntyre. The champ experienced doubt and frustration with his facial expressions reflecting someone questioning what he needed to do to put away his opponent. McIntyre speared Reigns through the barricade using one of the champion's favorite spots against him. He recovered and delivered his own spear back in the ring for a dramatic 2 count. The right hand from Tyson Fury to Austin Theory that denied him another Money in the Bank cash-in was a great spot. It was perfectly executed and sold. And, oh man. All that was my professional opinion. In my personal opinion, I absolutely positively hate the finish. If you heard a loud crack coming from my area, that was the sound of my heart breaking. I was so brokenhearted, I came this close to crying, man. That's how upset I was about this. I mean, I was like, really? You had a chance to close out with the biggest bang probably since Bryan Danielson, Daniel Bryan, at WrestleMania 30. Which to this day remains the best ending to not only a WrestleMania, but any pay-per-view in WWE history. And before today, for the last 9 years and 16 days, I always thought that the most demoralizing end to a pay-per-view ever was when Triple H and Randy Orton screwed Daniel Bryan out of the WWE Championship at SummerSlam 2013, when the Authority was born. I thought that was forever going to be the most demoralizing. That was until today. A chance to give us the biggest bang, a bang that we haven't seen in years, and he ended up closing with a massive whimper. And I know if Michael Bullock was here, he would be joining me in those sentiments. He'd be getting out his Undertaker shovel, and he'd be getting ready to go on a Phenom rant, burying some folks right about now. I can honestly call this the first major oopsie of the Triple H regime. I said to myself for a minute, did McMagma sneak into the building somewhere? Did McMagma, pull the string on this? Did he sign off on this under our noses? But I'm one that's all for surprises. I really am. But there's a time and a place for those surprises, and this was not the time or the place for it. It wasn't. Not just with Solo showing up, but also with Roman going over. I'm all for unpredictability, but this is the one time that I actually wanted to see predictability. I wanted to see the predictable outcome. Drew winning the title in front of the home fans in what would have been a pop echoing that of the British Bulldog Davey Boy Smith when he won the Intercontinental Championship from Bret Hart at SummerSlam 92 in Wembley 30 years ago. That I don't know if it would have surpassed that pop, but it would have come pretty damn close. No doubt about it. But, professionally, I understand, but personally, I loathe and detest what happened today in that finish. Horrible. Just horrible. So, 4.5, 4 3/4, second best fight of the night. If not for Solo's interference, and if Drew had won the title, then I would have pulled 5, and I would have called this the fight of the night, and I would have called this the match of the year. But as the old saying goes, folks, as the Rolling Stones famously sang in 1971, you can't always get what you want. And MF, as we get ready to wrap up this review, I'll say it like this, there's also another saying, there's no such thing as a sure thing. And what we saw today was living proof of that very statement.
Yeah, heartbreaking outcome, no doubt about it. I think a lot of people were stunned. I mean, I know you were hoping for a crowning of a new champion. I know you wanted it. You wanted that bad.
Oh,
you wanted that championship so bad.
More than you know.
And look, I know you guys were calling for it. You guys were predicting it. You actually, last night, I know you and Michael Bullock called for Drew McIntyre to become the new undisputed WWE Universal Champion.
Yep.
But I'm going to be real honest with you. I had Roman all the way. I'm dead serious.
Wow.
I had a feeling this was going to happen. And the thing is, Roman is too big right now. And if he's going to lose that belt, it's going to be at a major 4. Either Survivor Series, Rumble, or WrestleMania. Now, there's rumors going around that they're thinking about doing Roman versus Rock at WrestleMania. And there was a rumor that the title that one of the belts might be on the line.
It doesn't need it.
It doesn't need it. It doesn't need it.
They can the two of them with their respective star powers alone sell the match enough. It doesn't need a title.
Yeah, and that's what we were hearing. Now the question becomes, all right, if it's not him, then when? Who?
You
got a guy right now with Scarlett. Is it Cross? Maybe.
That's one name to consider, but there's another name I'm considering.
Go ahead.
And it came to my mind a few hours after I had time to process this. At first I had thought, if not Drew, then who? Nobody. But now, it took a while for the light bulb to go off in my head. I think it's going to be a certain young man, a certain individual who calls himself the American Nightmare.
Very possible. The thing is, when is he going to be healthy enough to do it?
Hopefully
Because
he'll be ready
remember,
by. Hopefully he'll be ready to come back by the Rumble.
because that's going to be the key. And everybody knows that story. And remember what he said. He wanted to be a WWE champion. So the way I see it, it's going to go like this. The draft is coming up. So you know that means Austin Theory is going to have to cash in the money in the bank at some point. He's going to win one of the two belts. It's going to be a foregone conclusion. It's just which belt is he going to get? The Universal or WWE? He's got to get one of the two. You take that belt off, okay, fine, great. Then we need to wait for Cody to come back. If he comes back, then it is a matter of not if he's going to get it, when is he going to get it, and what belt. If he and the one that he's been talking about, the one that everybody thinks he's going to desire for, is going to be the WWE title. Fair enough, no problem. You win that belt, immortality. He finally fulfills his father's legacy. He finally fulfills the dream that he had that his father never got to do. As a matter of fact, even his own stepbrother never got to this belt. And that's the WWE Championship. Dusty was never a champion. Goldust was intercontinental, but he tag team, but never won the big one. Never got the World Heavyweight Championship when it was around, and never got the WWE Championship. Cody Rhodes has a shot at making that history. We'll see. All right, Anthony, your final thoughts?
The ending. Then I'll forgive what happened today if that happens.
Yep.
So,
all right.
That's the only way I'll forgive it.
Give me your thoughts. Final thoughts on this, and then we'll set up for AEW.
All right. I think I'm going to go on the record here, and I'm going to say this was the best WWE pay-per-view of 2022 so far. I got to give this in excess of 9. I think 9 is the appropriate rating for this. I could have gone 9.5. Maybe even a perfect 10 if we had gotten the ending we wanted. But since we didn't, I got to give it at least 9, teetering on 9.5. But make no mistake about it, MF. This was a fantastic show. I mean, it felt like a Triple H ran pay-per-view. It had no feel of McMagma except for the finish, even though I still have a feeling he snuck in there somewhere. But you know, it is what it is. But boy, howdy, MF. The setup was amazing. The crowd. But then again, it's the crazy Euros. We know how they are.
Oh yes, we love the Euros. We love you Europeans. You guys were awesome today.
Oh, I mean, everything that they did. I mean, they couldn't stop singing Seth Rollins' song, for goodness sake.
I heard about that too. But yeah, what the hell is Rollins wearing, man? He looked like a freaking peacock.
I don't know. I mean, and I said to Bullock last night when we saw Sami Zayn in that in that little ensemble that he had, I'm like, did he take that out of Rollins' closet or something? I'm like, oh my goodness. But make no mistake about it, though. I mean, yeah, that's why we love those Euros, man. They're amazing. I mean, how I wish we could have been there for that. That would have been a sight to see. But they couldn't stop singing Seth Rollins' theme, and they had a very unique. They took one of the great songs and made it their own. You know, the Seven Nation Army. You know the song, Pat McAfee. You all know that. And what did they do with it? They did, oh, Drew McIntyre. Oh, man. Whoa. If that doesn't give you chills, I don't know what does. I mean, God, I love those fans, man. There's something. I mean, they're right up there with those Canadian fans that every time we get a near fall would go 2. And we saw that in Montreal, and MF couldn't stop laughing, saying, "God, I love these knuckleheads. This is great." So, but all kidding aside, though, 9 to 9.5. Best WWE pay-per-view of 2022, and it's definitely going to be up there when we get to the end of the year for our overall pay-per-view of the year. It's definitely going to be up there. It's going to be well within that discussion, without a doubt. Had Druid won, that would have done it. It would have been over. It would have been a perfect 10. It would have been no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I would have said good luck to all the other pay-per-views, but now you got a shot. So we'll see about tomorrow with Worlds Collide and All Out. So not much more to say. 9.5 MF, AEW All Out, as we continue on the most loaded and exciting Labor Day weekend of all time. After we had Clash at the Castle and the return of college football today, now tomorrow it's Worlds Collide, and then it's All Out. So, all right, MF, I'm ready. Let's get into our preview of AEW All Out from the Now Arena in Chicago, Illinois tomorrow night.
All right, we got 4 pre-show matches. We're just going to go very quickly on this one. It's going to be Tomohiro Ishii versus Eddie Kingston. I got Eddie Kingston in that one. We also got Kip Sabian versus Pac for the AEW All-Atlantic Championship. I think Pac is going to win that. We got Angelo Parker versus Hook for the FTW Championship. I got Hook. And then also we got Ty Mello and Sammy Guevara. They're going up against Ruby Soho and Ortiz for the Triple A World Mixed Tag Team Championship. I got the champions remaining champions.
Agree with you on all that, MF.
Okay, here we go. Main card. First up, Bryan Danielson, one-on-one versus Chris Jericho. I got Bryan Danielson. I think Danielson is going to have enough of the wherewithal. I think he's going to do enough to win it. Now, would I be surprised if Jericho wins? No, because I feel like there's going to be a little bit of a story here. And I think the X factor of this entire match is going to be Daniel Garcia. Where's his loyalty going to lie? Now, lately he's been, I don't want to say goofing up or messing up, but I know the Jericho's trying to make him do a decision saying, you're a sports entertainer, you're not a wrestler. And you've been seeing and noticing a lot of confusion. And I feel like Daniel Garcia, I think is going to help Jericho win. But he's also going to turn on Jericho saying, I am a wrestler. And I think there's going to be a feud. I think it's going to be where Jericho will win this, but after the match, Garcia is going to show no loyalty to Jericho because of the fact that he's going to want to beat the living daylights out of Jericho to show him that I am a wrestler, not a sports entertainer like you think I am. So I got Jericho winning, but Garcia is going to turn on him and basically walk away from the Jericho Appreciation Society. So, Florio, it's yours.
They faced each other before, but this will be the first Bryan Danielson, Chris Jericho singles match to ever take place outside of WWE. Both Danielson and Jericho are among the greatest in-ring wrestlers of all time, and this will be a candidate for match of the night at All Out. This is an agree to disagree, MF. Daniel Garcia is going to affect the outcome of Danielson-Jericho in some form. It just isn't clear who he's going to help win. AEW has been building toward Garcia turning against Jericho and leaving the Jericho Appreciation Society. There could end up being a swerve along the way, a la Vince Russo, but the ultimate destination has to be Garcia leaving sports entertainment behind and embracing his natural role as a professional wrestler, as the audience always reminds him of. You're a wrestler. You know those chants. So I disagree, MF. I think Bryan Danielson is going to win this match, and I think Daniel Garcia is going to be the reason why. So, but then again, I mean, after what Dom did today, Edge and Ray won the match. but Dominic turned after the match. So I know that's what you're thinking this maybe
That
the same
that's
thing.
yeah, that's kind of my logic. I think Garcia's gonna help Jericho win, but after he will turn on Jericho.
Fair enough. So I got Danielson though. I got Bryan Danielson winning this match. So not much more to say. So MF, let's get into the next match.
All right, Fatal Four Way for the interim AEW World Women's Title. Tony Storm versus Dr. Britt Baker, DMD versus Jamie Hayter versus Hikaru Shida. Anthony, who you got?
If Thunder Rosa was able to wrestle at All Out, it's likely she would have dropped the AEW Women's World Championship to Toni Storm. AEW could decide to change course, and it's hard to ever bet against Dr. Britt Baker. But I strongly believe in my heart of hearts, Toni Storm winning is still the right choice. Storm is a potential breakout star who should be given a real chance to be one of the faces of AEW's women's division. So for me, winner and new interim AEW Women's World Champion, Toni Storm. And MF, I know on one of our recent shows that when this match was first announced, you went with Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, to come out of it as the new interim champion. Do you still feel that way, or have you changed course?
In a way, I would not be surprised if Britt Baker wins it. But now I'm starting to hear more and more people talking about Toni Storm walking out with the belt. But there is one other that we're not talking about that I think has now a legitimate chance of winning it all. Jamie Hayter. I really think AEW could pull the trigger and put the belt around Jamie now. Because, look, when Thunder Rosa gets back, they're going to want to work the angle of face versus heel. You're not going to do Toni Storm in this situation because Tony and Britt and Thunder Rosa are face versus face. How are you going to play that angle? I think that would be a mistake. And I think a lot of people would get sick and tired of Dr. Britt Baker, even though Britt does a lot of promotion, does a lot of things for AEW, and is actually a personal favorite of Tony Khan. That's why I started yelling Britt Baker's name. But if there is one other person that could win it all, it's Jamie Hayter. And I know a lot of people have been pushing for Jamie to win the title for a little bit now. So I don't know. And here's one other interesting note. If they would have done the original angle, if it would have been Toni Storm versus Thunder Rosa, I actually found out through a dirt sheet that Toni Storm would become the AEW champion. She actually would win the title. So, with that said, I believe now that, yeah, Toni Storm would definitely be the favorite. But honestly, I would like to see Jamie Hayter win it all. But I would not be surprised if Britt Baker wins it all too. So, unfortunately, Hikaru Shida is the leftover wheel, and she's not going to win it. But there's three viable champions, three women that could legitimately win it all. So I don't know. This is tough. Out of all of the matches, this is the toughest of them all. I can't pick a winner. I'm gonna say Britt Baker because I kind of feel they might want to do with that. But I would not be surprised if Tony wins it. I would not be surprised if Jamie Hayter wins it. If Hikaru Shida comes out of this, I'm stunned. Stunned. But that's the way I feel about it. So, all right. With that said, we move on along. We got the House of Black versus Darby Allin, Sting, and Miro. Oh, I don't know. I kind of feel like Darby, Sting, and Miro are due. And I think they're gonna win this. So I'm gonna go with that. Winners are Darby Allin, Sting, and Miro. Anthony, this is not an easy call, but I kind of feel like this is where they're going. I think Darby, Sting, and Miro are going to win this one.
No, this is an easy one, MF. I mean, and considering the drama right now going on with Malachi Black, reportedly requesting his release from AEW.
So did Miro.
Yeah, and Miro too. Yeah, but Sting and Darby Allin will form an alliance with Miro as they take on the House of Black at All Out. It seems like every AEW pay-per-view has to have a crowd-pleasing tag team match with Sting's team getting the win. I don't see that streak ending here. So Sting, Darby Allin, Miro win the match. And don't be surprised if Sting, despite the fact that he's 63 years old, ends up taking another one of those insane bumps again. Don't be surprised. So I got Sting, Darby, and Miro winning. And let me tell you this. If Miro and or Malachi Black end up getting their releases granted from AEW, you know they're gonna run back to Papa H in WWE.
Oh, without a doubt, easy. I mean, now there's been some stuff going on about Malachi Black, aka Aleister Black. There was some talk that that he's been a little bit homesick. That there's been some personal stuff that's been going on behind the scenes, and that he is genuinely unhappy with AEW. That he might have made a mistake when he jumped, and now there's this fact of buyer's remorse. Is that really genuine? I don't know. Is the rumors true that he wants out? That remains to be seen. I do know for a fact that if he does go, that yeah, it will be. He probably will run back to WWE. WWE gets yet another big name back on their stable, and Triple H will utilize him a lot more better than any other company. So I mean, there's a lot of people talking about that. There's been some other rumors about some other guys possibly going. So WWE might be on the verge of something really special now. But we'll wait and see. So with that said, next up, we got is Jade Cargill versus Athena for the TBS Championship. Anthony, is this going to be the night? Is this the moment? Are we going to get a new champion?
Oh man, I mean, all right. Let me say it like this: while Jade Cargill's undefeated streak, it wouldn't surprise me if it doesn't come to an end at All Out. Athena is that opponent who finally makes you think it's possible. The former Ember Moon is a strong pay-per-view opponent for Cargill, but it is up to AEW to make sure she doesn't fall to the wayside. If she were to lose. But I know a lot of the people are going. I know a lot of the consensus is going with Jade Cargill. And if she were to win, would I be surprised? Absolutely not. I would not. But I got this feeling, MF. I think this could be the moment. I think this could be it. I think Athena would be the perfect woman to dethrone Jade Cargill and become the TBS champion. And after how she was, and here's another one who was underutilized, who was poorly booked in WWE, especially on the main roster. McMagma and his minions. Here's another one that ended up becoming another one of the many victims of the McMagma regime. This one right here, no doubt about it. Should have had at least one run with a main women's title. Didn't get it. Should have. But I'm going to take a chance, and I'm going to say Athena becomes the new TBS champion. But MF, if Jade Cargill would have won, I would not at all be surprised. Not at all. But I'm taking the chance. I'm going for it.
It would be a good chance, and definitely no doubt. I just don't see it though. I think she's gonna get that Goldberg rub. I think they're setting her up to be the most dominating champion in all of AEW. And I yet to see someone come even close. I think, in my personal opinion, Athena will push her, and it's going to be one of those type of battles that there's going to be a lot of receipts that she's going to get. And I mean, for Jade Cargill, there's going to be a lot of receipts she's going to be paying in this match. But at the end of the night, I just don't see her losing the belt. So no, I gotta disagree. Winner and still the TBS champion. That bitch, Jay Cargill, the best female wrestler on the AEW roster right now. So yeah, so nothing to say. Here we go. One of the most highly anticipated fights of the evening. Jungle Boy going up one-on-one with Christian Cage. Now, this has the setup for Jungle Boy to finally get his hands on Christian Cage after Christian Cage turned on Jungle Boy, getting the revenge and the factor and everything that he's been going through, that he'll finally get the win, right? Wrong. This is where I think Christian Cage steals the win, and I think he's gonna beat Jungle Boy in the match. I think it. I don't know if it's gonna be because of Luchasaurus or just him just being that cheap chicken bleep type of a guy that he's gonna steal the fight. For me, the winner is actually Christian Cage. I actually got Christian Cage winning this one. So Anthony, it's yours.
For once, MF, I agree with you. Jungle Boy will eventually get revenge on Christian Cage for turning against him, but it will not happen at All Out. This is the type of personal feud that needs to be a multi-match series. It would not make sense to have Jungle Boy win their first meeting. Christian will pick up the victory in underhanded fashion. I agree, MF. Christian Cage wins the match, so next match.
Six-man tag team fight. Warlow and FTR versus Jay Lethal and the Motor City Machine Guns. Florio, what's yours?
It'll be great to see Impact Wrestling's Motor City Machine Guns step into an AEW ring tomorrow night. Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin are such an influential tag team and deserve to be featured in a big spot like this. An FTR versus Motor City Machine Guns match would have been more exciting, but the six-man tag allows Wardlow and Jay Lethal to get on the all-out card without having their own one-on-one match. So with that, I'm going with Wardlow and FTR to win the match. I wouldn't be surprised if Lethal eats the fall here, and Wardlow ends up maybe winning the match for him and FTR in this little mini Pinnacle reunion. But MF, I mean, we've been talking about it over the last couple of weeks or so since they made this. The Motor City Machine Guns in an AEW ring against FTR. I mean, Sheamus and Gunther was one thing, but could you imagine what an FTR Motor City Machine Guns match would be like? Look out. That's all I'm going to say.
Enjoyable tag team. It would probably be a tag team fight of the year candidate, no doubt.
I got Wardlow and FTR winning, so MF.
Agreed. I gotta go to Warlow and FTR as well. I got really nothing more to say. Next up, we got is the Casino Ladder match, where the winner will receive a future AEW World Title match. There is the participants is Claudio Castagnoli, Wheeler Yuta, Penta El Zero Miedo, Rey Phoenix, Rush, Andrade El Idolo, Dante Martin, and there's one person to be announced. And that person very well could get the Joker. So, normally the guy who ends up getting the Joker normally ends up winning it. So it really depends on who this Joker is. Now, we heard a lot of rumors that it could be another former WWE star, but the one name that I've been hearing a lot about is MJF. Maxwell Jacob Freeman.
Yep.
If it's him, obviously he's instantly the odds-on favorite. He would probably win it all, backdoor his way to the title shot, and here we go. You know that's going to trigger one member of our crew, Mr. Michael Bullock. Can't stand the guy, thinks he's a selfish SOB, and we're never going to hear the end of it. You know that, Florio.
Yep.
So, the hell with it. He ain't here. I'm pulling the trigger. If it is MJF, he's winning the Casino Battle Royale. If he's the Joker, it's over. He gets it. He gets the spot. He gets the title shot. and God help us all, because you know what that means. He's probably going to be the next AEW World Champion.
The winner of
Nothing
this
more to
ladder
say.
match will, yeah, the winner of this ladder match will receive a future shot at the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. 7 of the 8 have been revealed, well, with it set to feature Claudio Castagnoli, the Ring of Honor World Champion, the Ring of Honor Pure Champion Wheeler Yuta, Penta El Zero Miedo, Rey Fenix, Rush, Andrade El Idolo, Dante Martin, and the Joker. Ladder matches don't always click the way you expect them to, but this is a phenomenal lineup that could produce a classic match. There being one spot left open has inevitably led to speculation that MJF will return tomorrow night. MJF should not be off TV for too much longer, but it would be a waste to have his it could be a waste to have his comeback in a match where he has to share the spotlight with 7 other men. Another name that's being thrown around MF is Samoa Joe, who's been away for an acting role. So that's another name we need to consider. But I think I agree with you, MF. I think it is going to be MJF, regardless. I think MJ, and if it is MJ, but then again, I'll say it like this: whoever the Joker is, I think the Joker wins the match, regardless of who it is, whether it's MJF, Samoa Joe, or anybody. But I'm with you, MF. I think it's going to be MJF, and I believe MJF will win this match and become the next challenger, and be the first challenger for either Jon Moxley or CM Punk as AEW World Heavyweight Champion. Move on.
All right. With that said, we do indeed move on. And the next thing that we do have here is for the AEW World Tag Team titles, Swerve in Our Glory versus The Acclaim. Anthony, it's yours.
After teasing they would be splitting up, AEW made the smart decision to not only keep Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland together, but have them win the World Tag Team Championships. Lee and Strickland are incredibly talented, but they still could have gotten lost in the shuffle as singles wrestlers, with the AEW roster being so deep. This is not the right time for the Acclaim to become tag team champions, but it will be a special moment if and when that finally does happen. The fan favorite duo of Max Caster and Anthony Bowens is one of the most fun things on AEW television every week, but not quite yet. Winners and still AEW World Tag Team Champions, Swerve in Our Glory, Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland. MF?
Yeah, I agree. I think Swerve Strickland and Keith Lee should successfully defend the titles, and I still believe that they should win it. So, yeah, no doubt about it. I got really nothing more to say on that. And now we move on to our next match, Ricky Starks versus Powerhouse Hobbs one-on-one. Even though this hasn't really been very, I guess you can say, promoted heavily, but the thing was, Ricky Starks has that fire and passion, and when he did this promo a couple of weeks ago, it was amazing. It was powerful. I felt it, and it was his own personal best. Do I think that's going to be enough to beat Powerhouse Hobbs, though? Oh, I don't know. I don't think so. So I got to say that Powerhouse Hobbs is going to win it, but he's really going to have to earn this one. Unlike, I do not believe this is going to be like a delicious squash or anything like that. He's going to have to fight for it, but I think Powerhouse Hobbs will have enough just to get by and beat Ricky Starks. So I think this is first of multiple fight series. So Hobbs wins, and then Anthony, it's yours.
I disagree, MF. I got Ricky Starks winning this match. I mean, this grudge match will pit former Team Taz partners against each other. Powerhouse Hobbs betraying Ricky Starks in July is going to prove to be a moment that catapulted both to bigger and better things. Starks especially has the potential to be one of the top stars in AEW very soon. I think he should defeat Hobbs here. So I disagree. I'm going with Ricky Starks to win this match. So MF, next match.
All right. The tournament final for the inaugural AEW World Trios Championship. It is the Elite, Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks versus the Dark Order with Alex Reynolds, John Silver, and Adam Hangman Page. Now, just for the fact, here's how they got there. The Elite knocked off Andrade El Idolo, Roche, and Dragon Lee in round one, then knocked off United Empire, Will Ospreay, and Aussie Open, Mark Davis, and Kyle Fletcher to get to the final. For the Dark Order, they had to get by the House of Black by beating Malachi Black, Brody King, and Buddy Matthews, then knocked out the Best Friends just a couple of nights ago, knocking off Chuck Taylor, Trent Barrera, and Orange Cassidy. That leads to this final. Anthony, this is a very interesting storyline because remember, the Young Bucks try to offer a spot to Adam Hangman Page. Adam Hangman Page respectfully said no. That led to Kenny Omega coming back, and he joined the Elite, where Adam Hangman Page actually had to take over because Preston Vance, number 10, got hurt. And now we have the tournament finals. Who do you got? Who's winning it all? Who's becoming the first ever trios tag team champions?
With Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks sharing the ring with their former Elite stablemate Hangman Adam Page, this is guaranteed to be an incredible match. Omega and the Young Bucks are the best trios team in the world. AEW held off on starting the title tournament until Kenny Omega was ready to return from injury and take part in it. There's no way they're not the first champions. So the winners and inaugural AEW Trios champions, Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks. MF, all I can say is Omega and the Bucks, it's a classic case of Hangman teaming up with his new friends, Alex Reynolds and John Silver, versus his longtime old buddies, Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks. And let's not forget, Hangman Adam Page and Kenny Omega, former co-holders of the AEW World Tag Team titles.
Absolutely.
And they had a fantastic run with it. So, one of the longest runs. It's not the longest. I think the Young Bucks have the record, but boy, howdy, MF. I mean, Omega and the Bucks with the Hangman. And I'll tell you what, Reynolds and Silver, for those two, this is without a doubt going to be their biggest match, the biggest match of their lives. So, but MF, it's really all about Hangman and the Elite, really.
Yeah, I agree. The Elite wins. That leads us right into the main event, which is Jon Moxley versus CM Punk for the AEW World Championship. Come on. After what happened on Wednesday, it's almost a foregone conclusion. CM Punk regains the belt in Chicago. He gets the belt back and he wins it all. I just don't feel that Moxley is gonna. I think it's gonna be a great match. It's gonna be a good battle. But honestly, I think Moxley, his time is done. It's gonna be Punk. He gets his belt back. He looks more rejuvenated, more fired up, more passionate. It looks like it was just a storyline injury more than anything else. I think Punk will get the belt back and he wins it in Chicago. They're going to make this as a true comeback story and everything else. So now, winner and new AEW World Champion CM Punk. Anthony, it's yours.
CM Punk should leave All Out as world champion. His first AEW title reign was cut short before it ever really began. It would be a mistake to not put the title back on Punk tomorrow night or anytime soon. So with that, I agree with you, MF. The winner, and once again, AEW World Heavyweight Champion, CM Punk. And I'll throw in one extra bonus prediction before we close, and that is, I think this is going to be the match that should have been the banger it should have been the first time around. So
agreed.
So this could easily be the fight of the night. So, but make no mistake about it, MF, I'm right there with you. Winner, and once again the AEW World Heavyweight Champion, CM Punk. Take it home.
All right, and we're out of here. So on Monday night, Ridiculously Raw, we're gonna recap Worlds Collide, and then the Raw recap Wednesday is Wednesday Night Mayhem. We'll have the recap of this show, the AEW All Out. Then we'll have NXT, and we'll also have Dynamite
And
and
a crossover on top of that, MF, as we will preview Thursday Night Football, the Buffalo Bills and the Super Bowl champion LA Rams.
yeah, indeed we will do. And then on Thursday it's College Football Thursday as we go into week 2, and we got some good ones coming up. And then Friday is another edition of the Cerebral Smack Talk, and we're going to be talking about WWE, SmackDown Live, and we're also going to have Rampage as well. And then Saturday, the first edition under the new TXN Sports World banner of NFL Saturday. We will recap the Buffalo Bills versus the Los Angeles Rams, the opening night game, and we will preview week 1 of the National Football League, the kickoff of the 2022 season. It's finally upon us, folks. We're getting ready. We're going to do it.
Let's go.
So until then, for Anthony Florio, I'm Michael Fletcher. Have a good night, everybody, and we will see you on Monday night.
Goodbye.